we've got some challenges, some challenging times.
Yeah.
And what I see, some double standards. And, you know, I'm with you when you say that all we, the people, want is a high-functioning government.
That's it. A high-performing government.
We're not asking for too much.
Apparently we are.
And here's my...
Apparently we are asking for too much.
Here's
That's all I want.
my problem is, like, first, you know, we talk about who gets elected matters, and there's been some high-profile black women DAs. I don't see that happening anytime in the foreseeable future in the Mile High Income City.
Don't you?
I don't know if the pipeline is even there. I'm not sure. We've got a DA's race going on right now, and it's coming down to the white guy and the white woman. You know, attorneys, and both seem very capable. But I want to go to Fulton County, Georgia, for just a moment.
Right, quick.
Fani Willis, and it looks like you know, the Trump team Trump and et al. Have done all of the legal maneuvering that you would expect them to do as a paid
Defense
representative of yours. You'd want them to do everything they're doing.
Defense attorney is supposed to mount your defense, a rigorous defense.
And they are rigorously defending.
They sure are.
And I think Team Fani Willis had some unforced errors.
One big one.
And this is the kind of trial I would have really liked to see, but I don't think we'll ever see it, because I believe the appeal has been accepted. And the appeal, you know, as it relates to eliminating Fani Willis from the courtroom, getting her off the case, the appeal has been, you know, accepted. Sure. And so this will not go to trial anytime soon.
So here's what I think also is a possibility. So here's what we know. Talk about what we know. So as it happens, good or bad, no matter how you feel about this former president being on trial, there's all kinds of charges, like a lot of different charges. And so there are also a lot of pretrial motions. And so all of those things can still move forward. And in most cases can run in tandem with whatever's got to happen with the appeals piece. So work is still happening. So the cog has not stopped. The wheel is still turning. But it throwing back the DA's ability now to oversee this prosecution through this appeal process, that's back on the table. And it's unfortunate that it's just unfortunate that
Trump has to get to November. He could just
he keep kicking his can.
He's kicking it to November.
Well, yeah, but there still hasn't been a ruling on whether or not. So, yes. So here's his tact. Is that it never goes to trial does not go to trial before the election, and he wins the election, and then he can make the argument about not trying a seated president. After which time, if he gets back in, it's going to be all bad anyway for everybody. So that's the smoke we don't want. But pretrial motions can carry on, and we're at May. That's a whole lot that's got to happen between now and the election for the trial in Fulton County. So it's just disappointing that
it's disappointing, though.
Sidetracked with
an unforced error.
Yeah, with what went on with Nathan Wade. That was so. Listen, if you are trying, and I've said this before, tears my nerves up. If you are trying the former president of the United States for crimes, then that is your focus. You can't say or do anything that's going to interfere. And I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it is what it is. And you have to focus on staying above reproach throughout the entire process. And they found one thing.
That's all you need to find.
That's the only thing.
Doing 55 and the 54. You're doing the 55 and the 54.
And now it's a whole situation. And so they lost, 3 months dealing with that on the path to trial.
But
Dealing with that particular allegation that someone that she was in a relationship with was benefiting from tax dollars, which is quite the allegation.
now that's what I would really be interested in knowing as a taxpayer and someone who says this is what we are trying the former president for. That is something I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
And I want to put a pin in there because I want to ask you a quick question about that as well.
Okay.
Election
Yes.
interruption, tinkering with democracy.
Sure.
I don't care about the president tinkering with Stormy Daniels. If we could reverse this thing,
Oh gosh.
and as someone who's like, I don't care what adults do, I don't care what consenting adults do with their body parts. I don't care. I think that, if somebody's paying to get something and there's no, coercion, and you agree fair exchange is fair exchange, and if you do that for
Fair
money,
deal, no swindle.
yeah, if ladies or guys, if you do it for money, I'm just gonna call you a professional.
Well, yeah.
And I don't care. I mean, I don't
Right.
care. However, comma.
But that's not the problem.
What is making it to court? what is making it to court? And they're in there right now. Is you know what? You gave some woman some money via a person to be quiet about a sexual thing. Like, so what?
And
like,
the color of money is the problem.
Yeah.
So this was what's alleged is that this was campaign money. So you cannot do.
you must not do.
You must not do. For a second, the idea around influencing an election or election interference or whatever the case, I don't remember what the precise charge is, but he did that in a way as to timing so that it would not be brought up during his 2016 run.
Right.
You also can't
For
do
moral
that.
reasons, like you don't want the public to know how immoral I am. Like
Well,
we already knew.
Whatever. Everybody knew.
But
he's
you
immoral.
already knew.
Everybody
But,
knows Donald
nobody
Trump is
cared. Like
He's
nobody even
immoral
believes Donald Trump. It's
No.
just he gets a pass for some reason.
I wish I knew.
He gets a pass.
Because he knows where all the bodies are buried, probably.
Now Fani, on the other hand, and Nathan Wade, that becomes a bigger story,
Yeah.
which derails something that could have gone to trial that's attached
Already.
to all of the stuff that we were interested in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unforced error. It
Just
became
need
an issue
11,000
about the DA.
Yeah.
And now Nathan Wade, who is booted off of the trial, like the judge, in my opinion, the judge says, you know what? I can't say if you all did anything wrong, but
It
for the
don't look
integrity
right.
of the court, this
Yeah.
don't look right, and
Right.
you're gonna have to get rid of one of y'all.
One
Gonna
of
have
y'all
to
gotta
go.
go. That's right.
And we know which way the one's gonna go. He leaves, and as important as this time period is for us as these United States of America, and the blacks are always on trial. You got to be,
Blacks are always
we're always on trial. Even if you are doing the trial, you're on trial. Why is this dude on ABC
running his mouth.
talking about his relationship? Nathan, we really don't care. But why is it important in this moment with everything on the line that you're leveraging your 2 days in the spotlight to be on ABC talking about your relationship with the Fulton County DA? Can you explain
He's
that?
trying to get his bag back in any way he can get it, as near as I can tell. There was no reason for him to do that.
Is that what we're doing?
This is the worst thing he could have done. He lost a very lucrative contract.
And so now he's on
now-
ABC talking like,
Well,
we're talking like,
now he gets to be a pundit. I think that's what's about to happen.
I don't
But-
think. I think that the blacks don't get a chance to be less than, honorable and then show up in a hypocritical nation that says they want, integrity, but at the same time will elect someone who is a bandit.
He literally, he being Mr. Wade, literally said in that interview, I'm sure that the district attorney's office doesn't like that I'm here talking to you. And if you are so sure of that, why did you even do it?
Why are you doing
To
it?
do it. Who called who?
And are you saying it's for the bag? He needs some money, or does he just need to be in the spotlight? Like, what is it? Like, Nathan, why are you even there when we're talking about January 6th insurrections?
Maybe he thinks he's helping.
Oh, he thinks he's helping?
Maybe. And I don't know what, I don't know, but I'll tell you the two things that bother me. That one was one of them, that the Fulton County DA's office probably doesn't like that I'm here. And the other fucking thing that he said, this is a show that triggers people, was that workplace romance is as American as apple pie.
In other words, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just disappointed that my life has been put in front of the world. Is that what we're doing post Dr. Martin Luther King?
I guess. I was like, what in the world? So yeah, there really was no reason for him to go on television and say any of that. In fact, he should have just got off in the cut. If he had written a contract that says if it had stopped before such and such a time, you got to pay me a little money. Make sure you write your contracts well so you get paid on the way out too, so that you don't have to be out here dancing for cash out here on these shows. Not the shows pay, but somebody's gonna pay him to talk to them. There's no way in the world that's not next. He'll write a book.
Oh,
there's some shenanigans afoot.
Is this what we have become as a black community in leadership? As petty as can be. Like, I mean,
it works for others. Why not?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Not us?
But it doesn't work for us.
I know. That's the part.
Nathan, Fani, that's not working. Like, even to hear you all on the stand talking about a man is a man, not a plan. You know, and he said that the only thing a woman could do for me is make me a sandwich. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, you're at the highest level.
Yeah.
You know, we are always cheering for us to walk the tightrope in a perfect straight line. But at that level, do we have to be that petty?
Yeah, well.
I'm going on ABC. They asked for an interview. I must be potent. I'm potent. No, why, Nathan? Why? What is it?
I'd have told him no. I wonder how it came to pass.
And he's a judge. He's a former judge.
He was.
And she's a DA, and she was also a judge.
Yes.
So at the highest level, when you are a judge, you're supposed to have all this wisdom and this discernment, and the baby seeing who the baby really belongs to, and all that stuff. This is what we're getting.
Talking about paternity court? What you talking about?
Well, they went to Solomon and the two women was arguing. They was asking about the baby, and then the judge said Solomon was like, "Man, well, I don't know, just cut the baby in half."
I'm there. Okay, got it.
But is this what we getting?
Mama is.
This what we getting?
Well, that's what we got. That's what we had. That's what we've got. And I stand on. When you are trying the former, and integrity ought to be utmost anyway, okay? But if you are trying the former president of the United States, and you know his plan is always the end around flank, kick the can, shenanigans, and all the things, you have got to be postured above reproach, period. That's it. And in this case, sadly, she was not.
Well, it was ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, it worked to their benefit. It worked for the defense. So what we know is pretrial motions are going to carry on, I believe. Does this thing happen before the election?
No.
Probably not.
Absolutely not. Okay, well then let's go. I want to talk about another DA.
I hate that.
And then I want to talk a little bit about the black double standard. Like we got
district attorneys
and all of it. Like we got a hell of a double standard. And I'm going to tell you what it is in just a minute. We got a hell of a double standard because we always stick with the team and we cheer and we're saying they're out to get us. Everybody's out to get us. It's like, okay, we do know that already. Have you been following the Baltimore DA dynamic?
I just got up on that. That's
if I play a You just got up on it.
Clip. I saw Joy
Let me see if I can pull up some of this.
Ready for war.
While many defendants are apologetic and remorseful ahead of their federal sentencing date, Marilyn Mosby is anything but.
The United States government, a global superpower, is actually coming for me.
She appeared on nationally syndicated The Breakfast Club this morning, calling for a presidential pardon.
This is all related to this prior administration. Who has the power now to do something about that is this administration.
You got that look.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
You got that look.
Yeah. So, this is a show that triggers people because you have entered a free think zone. If you're not willing to be exposed to other points of view, tune out now. Don't read the comments. You have been warned. This is the precise argument that a traitor to this country is making in every court that he shows up in. And I am struggling with this defense for this district attorney or former prosecutor. I don't get it. Like that's the same argument that's being made in every court in the land where treason is facing trial. What?
But that's the point I wanted to ask you about. Exactly what we hear the blacks and the Democrats talking about as it relates to Trump is the exact same argument as it relates to the blacks. And now there is a call for a pardon from the same people who will be upset if Trump gets elected and pardons all of them January 6 folks, because he already said that's what I'm going to do.
He plans to do that.
Do you think Biden has the wherewithal to say, well, you know what, I think this is malicious, even though it's under my administration that all of this has come forward. Trump has nothing to do with Mosby. I'm going to pardon it because it's a distraction? Or what does Biden do? And you clearly see the double standard, yes, and it's glaring.
It's glaring. He calls Mr. Clyburn, I believe, over in South Carolina and asks what he ought to do. I think that's what's happening because in the 2020 election, there was a whole big push around black women, making sure black women were in influential spots, all the things, so that VP Harris was considered for that slot, a black woman on the Supreme Court of the United States. So I think he has to hold some conversations with some folks around that before he decides. That's what I think. Here's what I know. Baltimore, I don't know what county.
Right around Freddie Gray.
She was tried with a jury of her peers. So here's the thing. So it wasn't a bench decision. It was a jury decision. And so the prosecution always has the onus to prove their case. Defense needs to be in a position to mount a rigorous defense. And so at the end of all of that, and I did not follow any of those trials, but at the end of all of that, a jury of her peers found her guilty on 3 counts of 4 that she was charged with. And so now she faces sentencing. So
the prosecution was found guilty. She's a prosecutor and she's found guilty
by the prosecution.
And she had a trial. Like, Trump has not been found guilty of anything yet.
Not yet.
He's about to go through what she has gone through.
Yes.
And for her to say, I didn't do it, I'm trying to figure out what is the you didn't do or what. Now, I get the point where you say this is petty, this is malicious, this is not a big deal. However, when you're a prosecutor and it's integrity and it's your job to prosecute others based on integrity, it is a big deal.
It is. And I guess I have to acknowledge I had not been following that, so I'm not as up on it as I need to be. So there were, I think, two areas that she's being accused of, and that's both of them tied to COVID. Is that right? So she took some PPP money, or
no? I think at Free Thinkers you go yes.
Can you help me?
Yes,
yes.
Based
money out of her
based on the COVID dynamic, she and then talked to the mortgage folks or whatever, right, and was able to get some money out of whatever. In other words, she didn't tell the truth for something according to the conviction. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they did just show us was some beachfront property.
Well, and
they were like, we want that.
I remember.
I'd be crying about that beachfront property.
Well, I remember hearing at the time that was the issue, was that she claimed some financial difficulty and then popped up with a mortgage on a vacation home. But the deal is that, it wasn't a bench trial. It was a jury trial. And the prosecution had the onus to prove guilt, and apparently to the satisfaction of a jury. And apparently that happened.
Is it racial or political, or does it matter?
Listen, you...
No, because the reason I'm convicted is because I'm black, or because y'all don't like the politics or whatever. Nobody, I could get it said, yes, I did this because I was in financial strain like the rest of the United States of America or whatever. Or, did you do something or did you not do something?
So here's the problem, though. The problem is if her claim is there was a racial bias and even being charged.
Mm-hmm. Or political bias.
And even being charged before it even gets to the courthouse, you have to present that case to a grand jury who says, yeah, there's enough here to move to indict. And then once they are indicted, they go, and then the lawyer says, I only sat for the L set. I only play one on Jeff's show. I only play an attorney on Jeff's show. Went to business school instead of law school. Regardless, at the end of the day, all of those steps had to be taken, and so you would then be the accusation would then be I was charged with bias, whether it was political bias over Freddie Gray or that I'm a black woman or both. And I thought every officer, in fact, that got indicted was black, that jumped all over Freddie Gray. But that's a side conversation. So. The prosecution said, yeah, let's run this, see what. So there were 4 charges, is my understanding, and 3 of the 4 she was found guilty of, which means there was a jury that contemplated the evidence and said there wasn't enough to indict her on the 4th one.
What if this, the great Leanne Wheeler, right? If this is black power?
What you talking about?
I mean, because
I'm waiting for the question.
No, because the blacks are playing at the highest levels and thinking that they could do what white folks do.
Well,
particularly,
that's your first mistake.
But particularly not white
America.
folks. I'm talking about white land owning men.
Sure. Not even their women.
You're playing in the white patriarchal elite world, right, and you're playing with their rules and with their toys, and right, you think you could do what they're doing. Sure. So, isn't this, if it's politically motivated, the Trump and Republican side of the argument can say, hold up a second, we have nothing to do with this. We're not in power. Your president was elected when they indicted you, and the Democrats who hired the hired her, they're all the ones that agreed to prosecute you. Now, if you are at that level and you are a prosecutor, shouldn't you have someone's phone number where you could say, hold up a second, the great Leanne Wheeler, this is politically motivated and they're coming after me for this. And then your political team says, yes, this is political and this indictment will never see the light of day.
That happens all the time for other people. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen for her.
It didn't.
For her. It wasn't going to.
And so since it didn't happen,
it wasn't going to.
Isn't this a bigger indication that you don't have the power that you think you have when you're trying to play us to say Trump got something to do with it? But if you listen real closely, if it's politically motivated, maybe there's some internecine warfare in there because it's the same party.
Wow, you're asking an unaffiliated about what the Democrats do. But here's what I'll say.
Or just the politics of it.
Or the politics of it. Here's what I'll say. I want to start with the Biden administration, who appointed these judges who found her. So it's interesting that they are invoking him. They are moving to invoke him to move
for a pardon.
To pardon her. And so he's got a whole political calculus that he has to now ascertain, because black women helped carry this election last presidential cycle. First. Second, he's in a quagmire with regard to Israel, Palestine, Hamas. So he's got a political calculus that he has to make. He's already losing voters, right? So that's on the side. If, in fact, the prosecution proved their case to the satisfaction of a jury, then that's it and that's all. Now, I haven't read what the charges were.
Does she at least have to come out and say, well, yeah, I did that, but, or is she just like, I'm not guilty, I didn't do that?
What she said that I've read is that she did what others did who never faced prosecution. That's what she said.
That's the Negro argument.
There are others.
Yeah. Why me?
Well, I think that's her argument. And so it's like, now you don't get to do that, though, because you're at a higher standard. You were a prosecutor. You knew where this was headed. And to your point, if I got the hookup, I'm calling like, look, man, which is what happens with powerful, wealthy people, as you say. They don't, that got settled. Or that never saw the light of day.
They're
somebody pay somebody to squash it.
They call and they say,
none of that happened.
Which one of these trials is y'all working on over there? Because one of them about to get. Now I can't do none of this high profile stuff, but I know you guys some. What over here is about to get dropped?
Yeah.
Because that needs to get dropped.
Right.
Because in the grand scheme of things, doing something with your mortgage isn't that big of a deal.
But when you mess with rich folks' money, they're gonna see you in jail. So Ponzi scheme, I'm thinking of. What's the kid that just got jammed up over the cryptocurrency? So there are 2 or 3 different judicial or criminal justice systems.
That's right. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There's 3 of them.
Right. Also, there's black, white, and moneyed.
Right.
And so she fell under that. Something happened with somebody's money. But regardless, at the end of the day, whether 70 other people, I can't remember the number now, she said, that also took money against their retirement accounts for COVID hardship.
So she's saying everybody else is doing it. Why are you after me? That's what I tell the young people I work with all the time. You can't focus on how the system treats other folks. You need to be responsible for your behavior.
You ain't supposed to do it. So none of y'all was supposed to do it. You just happened to get caught up. So I'm kind of curious to see. I think there's a political calculus that this president has to make given the times we're in right now.
He'll do it. You know why? Al Sharpton, NAACP.
I think it's going to come down to Clyburn,
the historical. No, you seen them logos? Historical.
But look at all the other injustices we're serving that we are dealt.
He's going to do it for the sister.
That ain't
sisters. Biden's going to come through for you just the same way of all of the political prisoners and war folks that have been caught in war in other countries. You got the basketball player out.
It's going to be a problem.
The sister who played the basketball.
Yeah.
She's home.
It's going to be a problem. He's going
to do it for the sisters.
I think he's in a tough position. So you believe he will pardon her?
Yes.
I do not.
He's going to do it.
I do not. But I do.
He needs the black vote.
Well,
and black folks cheer for the most petty reasons.
We do.
We are petty as all hell.
We really do.
So it's like all you got, sister. We won one. It's like, okay.
I know that he has to be evaluating all of this. He's talking to his advisors. He told his press secretary the right thing, and she plausible deniabilities. He's like, I ain't gonna. Don't ask me about it. I won't.
I know what he's doing.
And so when I get up at this podium, I don't have to answer to it because I haven't asked, and that's a legitimate answer.
And there was the sister. The sister was at I don't see. She was in the correspondence room. She was like, we're familiar with this, and here's what they're gonna do. Since the blacks didn't have the ability to say, we're talking COVID PPE, and we gave all, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to prosecute that because we got a whole bunch of other stuff. That's why that's going away. That's
the charge that went away.
Yeah, we're dropping all of that stuff because we got bigger things to do. And by the way, we're going to drop some of our little stuff that we got that's big stuff to you. We're going to drop that. Here's what Biden's doing. He's going to go like this. So what you're telling me is the blacks want reparations? man, I'm getting all these letters.
Not going there.
What they really want, they want Mosby pardoned.
And that's going to be the reparations.
I think I'm going for this low-hanging fruit. Mosby's pardon. Reparations,
Denied.
not so much.
Denied. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Not
I do
so
believe
much.
he has a political calculus that he needs to make.
He just won on this reparations thing.
The caucus is happening, but I don't believe he pardons her.
I think he does.
Okay.
I think you get a pardon, you don't get reparations.
So he throws the rest of us under the bus.
Reparations, no. Pardon, yes.